Hello, everybody, and welcome to the post show. Hope you enjoyed that episode of Scam Economy with Molly White on, the SEC finally doing something about crypto. In this particular instance, going after Coinbase and Binance for selling unregistered securities when it comes to Binance. A lot more than that. It'll be really interesting to see how these two cases play out, and it's obviously going to be something that takes a while. I think this is something we'll see going on for years, because both Coinbase and Binance have signaled that they are going to fight. For Coinbase, it's all they really got. They are the biggest exchange in the U.S. They don't have subsidiaries like Binance all over the place dealing with crypto in various different countries and jurisdictions. So it'll certainly be interesting to see what happens. With that said, if you haven't caught the episode, if you're just tuning into this, definitely check it out. It's up at youtube.com/MattBinder, and it just went up at scameconomy.com if you want to listen to the podcast version of this show. But now, being that we are on the live stream, I have opened up the phone lines. It's Monday night. Still trying to find that new regular day of the week for Scam Economy. It's been a rough scheduling wise. It's been a rough couple of months for Scam Economy, trying to get it down on a certain date with my schedule. But just a heads up, I will be doing a show tomorrow, Doomed, and it's normal Tuesday night, scheduling, and then of course Thursday with Majority Report and Leftist Mafia. So a full week of shows here with me. Hope you enjoy. And kicked off with the Scam Economy episode. With that said, the phone lines are open. You can, and people are already calling in. Perfect. Let me see who we got. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Osama.
Hey, Osama, how you doing? What were we going to talk
Good,
about?
how are you?
I'm doing good. What are you going to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I haven't seen the show, so I can't talk about this game economy. I just saw you, and I
That's all
called.
good.
Somehow I got lucky. I guess what were we talking about last time? You were in a hurry. We talked about you did a wrestling stream last time, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I saw that afterwards, and yeah, it was nice. You couldn't go into the Vince thing because of time restrictions, but I guess what did you think of the new belts?
What did I think of the new belts? They're all right. Nothing special.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not
Yeah,
horrible.
I don't know why.
But I thought they
Yeah.
would bring back the old
They
school,
just made it gold.
Right.
They-
Yeah, I mean,
They just
when they said they were bringing back the heavyweight title, I thought that meant they were bringing back the prestigious, big gold belt from back in the day, but they didn't.
At least that one's better. Like the other one is like Roman, you get a new title. Oh look, it's gold.
Right.
And then Asuka, oh, you're getting a new title. Oh look, it's gold, but it's white.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you think of
You're breaking up a little
getting a
bit.
title shot?
You're breaking up a little bit.
I said, what did you think of Charlotte Flair coming back again and getting a title shot again?
I actually did not catch that. I've missed that. I heard it happened, so I can't. I think she's a good wrestler. She's a good talent, but I mean, her whole gimmick is old and boring.
Every time.
I mean, they need to do something with
Yeah,
her that
gimmick
changes her up.
I hope they do. I hope I think they're changing Bianca. I hope she loses to Asuka and then she feuds with Bianca. Like,
Right.
she just holds titles, loses to someone, disappears, gets back, wins the title, holds it, loses to someone, disappears.
Right. Well, she's at that
Okay,
part.
but other
She's
than
at that she's at that time in her career where she basically can call these shots in terms of like taking time off and stuff. What are they gonna do about it? You know what I mean? They're not
yeah,
gonna.
but
They're
they
not
can write a
gonna.
better story. Like Roman doesn't wrestle, but they
Yeah,
have a better
yeah,
story for Roman.
yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with that. Yep.
Uh, but I guess other than that, uh, what do you think about the Trump indictment? It
The
feels
tr-
significant, but I don't know.
I mean, this is not looking good for Trump. I mean, this is. I mean, obviously, if you get indicted, it doesn't look good for you. But I mean, this one in particular, the what's in those
Um,
documents, what's in the indictment
yeah, this
is
is
pretty. This one's a serious one. Like this isn't. I mean,
no, this
obviously
is
the other
insane.
one. I mean, obviously that first one from New York State. That one is from New York. Obviously serious, but this is much more damning. Like
No,
that's
this yeah,
it's
this isn't even like U.S. levels damning. This is like history level damning. This is like if this happened in here, they wouldn't let it happen here. They just the guy would disappear.
right.
Like they don't have due process here, so the guy would just disappear.
It's really bad for him. I mean, this is it's insane, honestly. Like in the photos of
Like
all the boxes, all's like throughout Mar-a-Lago, like that's insane. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, what were you doing?
imagine if you're like France or like Germany or whatever, and then they're like, does he have any of our secrets in his bathroom or something?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you gotta believe there are countries wondering what the hell. Like, is
Yeah,
our shit in
every
there?
country
Right,
is.
right.
Iran must be like, I know country A, country B, whatever they say, they're not revealing it, but it's really Iran and Saudi Arabia, and then
Right.
Iran is like, wait, what the hell's happening?
Right. I mean, but with that said, though, with that said, um, I mean, jail for Trump. I don't know. I mean, rich the rich and powerful in this
No,
country,
he'll
whether
probably get like
whether
at
they be
most, I guess, house
Republican,
arrest.
or Democrat, or just
Yeah.
uh, serving the party of their corporation. They get away with everything. Like
I guess it'll be like house arrest or something, and
if
depending on the
even
charges, I
if
don't
even.
think he can run for president
I
with some
mean,
of those charges.
I do want them to not jump the gun here. Let the man run for president. Let the man win the primary. So we let the man lose to Joe Biden.
No, no, no. But the funny thing is, no, no. The funny thing is, we can have our cake and eat it too, because even if he's not allowed to run, he'll still make fun of everyone on that Republican,
Right,
like
but
everyone. Like he'll make fun of Ron DeSantis.
listen. This is what I think. I think he wins the Republican primary hands down. I think he hands down does not win the general election. I can't say that about
Oh,
any
of
other.
course.
I can't say that about any of the other Republicans. Like with Trump in, they
No, I
hands
think
down lose the primary, but they have a good shot at the general election. So Trump's got to
I don't
stay in
think
from
so.
my
Like,
standpoint.
yeah, that's my like. Ron DeSantis is the next pick, most likely, right? I don't think he can win the general against Biden. If it's Harris, then maybe, yeah, but
I
Biden, I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think DeSantis is well known enough in this country. I think people know Joe Biden, and if they don't like what's going on right now, they'll just throw caution to the wind and say, "Hey, let's try something new," and that's worrisome to me.
We'll see.
They're obviously not going to do
Uh,
that with Trump because they'll, if
yeah.
with a choice between Trump and Biden, a lot of people are going to go, I don't want to go back to the Trump years. Biden, I'm not a fan, but he's better than Trump. Like that's how a lot of people will look at it. I mean, it sucks. That's the world we live in, but that's the world we live in, and we got to deal
Yeah.
with this reality. I also think, from my standpoint, obviously bar is low, but with that bar being so low, Biden ain't been that bad, you know?
I feel like he's better than Obama in a lot of ways.
Oh, you know what? He definitely has been better, and it's unfortunate. Really, it is.
Yeah. Like unfortunately, I think he's the best president since I don't know what before Reagan, before Nixon. Nixon, I don't know. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, Maybe LBJ. I don't know. I'm trying to think who. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, again, bar is
Yeah.
very low. Like this isn't me saying Biden is great. This is me
Yeah, of
saying
course.
Biden has been better than the worst.
Yes. It's a competition. Like it's a stiff competition for the worst. But for the
Right.
best, I think Biden, in the modern US,
Right.
it's in modern US history, Biden's probably like, I mean, decades, not like centuries, of course.
Right.
Uh, Speaking of fascists, the our fascist has also been systematically destroyed by our military. Basically, like you didn't have any power to begin with. What were you thinking? So he tried to like exert his force on the military, and then something he did, like his followers did something on the 9th of May. Like they attacked you know what a corps commander is?
What?
Do they
What?
have those in the US? A
What?
corps commander.
A court
It's like
command?
a top, yeah, it's like a
Oh, I
top
don't. I
brass
don't. I
military position.
honestly. I don't honestly don't know enough about the military.
Yeah. It's kind of like a military position. It's not like a rank like a general or whatever, but it's like a top position you hold. It's
Okay.
usually like either like brigadiers or generals. And his followers attacked one of their houses or whatever, like they have government housing. And then they just destroyed the party. And then they're like people leaving left and right. They're like, some of them were like, they were jailed for 2 days. They were so scared. They're like, we are. We're leaving
Oh,
politics altogether, or like
you're
we condemn what happened on the 9th of May.
you're breaking up
So
big
his
time for
entire
me right
party.
now. I'm sorry. You're breaking up.
Wait 1 second.
Hello.
1 second. I'm
Oh,
saying, so they basically did this attack, and then afterwards the military was like, okay, we'll show you what actual power is. And then they just started arresting everyone in his party. And then most of them were like, after 2 or 3 days, we're sorry, this shouldn't have happened. We're leaving politics altogether, or we're leaving the party. And they were like, all like it was like some script had been like they were all saying the same thing on TV, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And now he has like 4 people left or something, like 4 actual people or something, even dead. And he's our system isn't good. I'm not saying it's good, but
I mean,
uh,
yeah.
it
No,
took
no.
less than a
Is
month.
is is there any system out there that's that's
No,
good?
but they basically told the media you can't talk about this guy either. So nothing on the media. So everything's just gone. And that
Right.
basically they're now starting a new game with new people or the same people, but in different parties.
Yeah.
That's what they do. It's not
Yeah.
like the US where the rich control everything. It's where the military controls everything.
Yeah. That's. I don't know which is worse. I,
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
gonna want to say I'm gonna want to say military though. I'm gonna want to say
I can't
military.
imagine if the US military was like became belligerent or was like we rule the US now or something.
All right. Yeah.
Like I don't know what the
I'm
hell they
gonna
can
go.
do.
I'm gonna go with that being worse. I'm gonna go with that being worse.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I think I feel safe
But
saying that.
it hasn't been a. I don't know. Like if Trump gets indicted, do you think the GOP can stave off the stink, or will it affect them completely as well? Like for the foreseeable
Oh, they'll be
future.
fine. They'll be fine. I
No, I
mean,
mean, of course,
when
it's a
does
duopoly, so you can't have anything. Like, there's no one to take their place, but still.
yeah, I mean, but when does any yeah.
I mean, it's like I feel like things he did are like even the like weakest, poorest nation would be ashamed of doing anything like this. Like I haven't heard this anywhere. Like what he was doing.
Yeah. I think. Listen, I think they're going to go ahead with it. Obviously, the process. I don't think it's going to affect Trump with his his campaign. I think when they do finally get around to it, um, I think they'll find some friggin' way for him to get away with it. Really, I mean, maybe
But they
like you
said that
said,
it's
maybe
like 21 days or
there'll
something.
be some like really loose form like house arrest, like you mentioned. Like maybe that's
Yeah.
like the worst they'll get him with.
But the actual thing that runs the US, like the entire mechanism, the beast, everything, the machine, is against Trump now. So it's kind of like I don't think anyone would like the DOD or this CIA, FBI, whatever three-letter agencies you want. None of them are gonna like. All of them are angry at Trump, and basically they want something to happen to him. Like they don't want to work with him or anything. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not like politicians where they're like if they say something, it's gonna be like a half measure or something. Like usually if they say something, they go through with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than that, like you're not watching weekly wrestling that much. That's what you said last
No,
time, right?
not right now, unfortunately. I mean, here we are. It's a Monday night. I'm not watching Raw.
Yeah.
Um, it's rough to catch. There's a lot of wrestling on TV right now,
That's too
and
much.
it's been rough to keep up with it. On top
Yeah,
of
it's like
doing the shows and
yeah.
all the live streams I do, and when the nights I'm not doing a show, I'm usually working on something. Like I'm recording a episode of Scam Economy. Like obviously, I aired it tonight. I'm doing the live stream, but I spoke
Yeah.
with Molly on a day where I wasn't streaming, but instead of streaming, I was just recording the episode for a
Yeah.
future stream. You know,
The uh, what do you like? It's this Thursday, right? What do you think of CM Punk and Collision?
it's not Thursday. It's
No,
when
no, no.
is
It's this Saturday. Sorry, it's this
is it
Saturday.
this Saturday?
I think so. I think it's 13th or 17th or 16th or something.
You're
It's
right. You're
it's
right.
Chicago.
You're right. June 7th. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And what do you think of Punk coming back? And
Um, it'll be great that he's back. I'm a big Punk fan. I don't care what anyone says.
no,
Um,
I like his wrestling. I don't like Phil Brooks. I guess I like
eh,
CM Punk. I don't like Phil Brooks.
I mean, I get why he's he is how he is. I mean, the dude's been his time in the WWE was not treated it nicely, to say the least.
Yeah, but like I mean, if you talk about not being treated nicely, then a lot of guys have like bigger grievances. And, like Mustafa Ali doesn't get anything. He was almost getting something, but then didn't get anything. They messed up Bray Wyatt. They messed up Karen Cross. Like a lot of people have like bigger grievances than Punk. I feel like they would have messed up Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan is just so good that they couldn't. Like no one like they tried to, but it didn't work. The 7 second loss or whatever to Sheamus.
Yeah.
I feel like he's very egomaniac. Like I don't think he thinks about like I can't even imagine like the promo that Hangman did was 4 months before when he did the entire fight thing, and he held on to it. Like I would have just gone to the Hangman or whatever. I would just talk to him like I didn't like the what was that after the promo ended like that night and resolved it. If he was like if he actually did something to like purposely or then that's different. But he's like, oh, it's just a promo. I thought that would work well with the crowd. And then okay, sure, problem solved.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
but yeah,
I
he's
think when he comes back,
yeah,
I think that'll be the real tell on
yeah.
obviously we have to see what they do with him, and once we find out how the crowd reacts, I think they'll get a
Yeah.
much better
But
idea
it's
of.
Chicago. The second week is better because the first week is Chicago. So if Chicago reacts badly, then it's bad. But if Chicago reacts like they do, then it's Chicago. You can judge anything by
Right.
Chicago. But a part of me just wants Jay White to beat him. Jay White and Samoa Joe just beat him in the main event.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Uh,
I think they need to. Yeah.
I mean, uh, who's your favorite wrestler though? Like active wrestler? Not that I mean, retired is different, of course. There's so
That's
many
a hard
retired. But
one honestly because there's a lot. I'm a big CM Punk fan,
yeah,
obviously. I've always been,
yeah,
this one usually puts me out there as a as a rarity. I've long been a big fan of what's his I was about to say Jeff Jarrett. Been a long
Oh
time
yeah, yeah,
fan
Jeff
of
Jarrett
Jeff
is fun.
Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett's very fun.
I know a lot of people don't feel
Yeah.
that way, but I think Jeff Jarrett's great.
Oh, do you remember? Did you see the one where they were fighting like Jeff Jarrett and Jill versus versus FTR, and Mark Briscoe was in the middle, and he did that segment where he was just throwing people around. Did you see that one?
I
It was
don't
like
remember it.
that was such a funny scene. He basically was just tired of everyone. First, he like hit what's the other guy's name? Dex. Like he just slapped him or punched him or something. Then he walked out. He threw Jarrett's wife to the side. He took Sanjay Dutt by the collars, threw him to the side. He slapped Jeff Jarrett. Then he held on to Jay Lethal and is like, "I love you, but I'm done with this." And he just destroyed everyone and walked off.
I have to watch that. I don't remember.
Hmm.
I missed that one.
Yeah. It was like you know that have you seen Daredevil, like the famous hallway scene they talk about
Yes, that's a
in
great
the
scene.
Netflix.
Yeah, it was like that.
It was like that. It was like that but funny.
All right, I have to check it out. You know, you just brought up
Yeah.
Daredevil, and I just reminded me. I took my kids to see the new Spider-Man movie across
Oh,
across the
yeah, that's
Spider-Verse.
insane.
Did you see it?
Yeah, that's insane.
It
Yeah, that's
was.
insane.
Did you see?
The
Did
movie
you see?
itself, I mean.
You saw it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I was blown away by it. I still thinking about it.
Yeah.
It might have been the best superhero movie I've ever seen. I
Oh,
think
of course. I've
easily
been a big proponent of
it's
animated
real
superhero movies. I'm
like it
yeah.
was so good that I'm like baffled at how bad the live action movies are in comparison.
Yeah.
Like all that money and all all their time and it goes into those the MCU and the DC universe one too
Yeah.
for DC, and none of it comes close to how good
Yeah.
the Spider-Verse movie was. Like the movie did not feel rushed at any point. It built each and every character. It was a lot of action, but a lot of
It wasn't just filled with
character.
one-liners.
It was just fucking amazing. It was funny,
Yeah.
smart, sad, dramatic. It was really fucking good.
They leaned into comic books as well, which is like, if you're a comic book fan, I feel like they're two different people now, like comic book fans and superhero movie fans, because like the comics are so different and they never do it in live action, but they did it here. Like that's the with animation, that's the cool thing. You can do whatever you want. Like you can create your own momentum. You can do your like everything. And they call it live action, but it's still CGI. And I've always preferred animation more than like the live action stuff
Right.
in superhero in general. I think
Yeah,
like
yeah, they could do
animation
more
is a
obviously
medium.
with yeah.
Yeah, because people call it's childish or whatever, but it's a medium. You can do anything. You can do like an R-rated thriller. You can do like a horror movie. You can do anything with animation. Basically, it's just that the limitations are different from a live action movie.
Right. Right. Well,
Yeah,
Osama, this was a great call. Let me
yeah. Oh
jump
yeah.
so
Before
Oh, go ahead.
my
One more.
favorites keep changing, but right now I'm really enjoying Orange Cassidy and his international title. And like, I don't want him to lose. I just want him to be like a broken man going out on like a crutch or something. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
not a crutch or something.
I'm
And
a fan of Orange Cassidy. He's great. I don't get the people that hate what he does. He does something different. It's interesting.
I'll say
It
something
keeps
you might find
things
weird.
what?
I think he wrestles like the Undertaker. Like they share the same psychology in wrestling. I don't know if you'll agree or
I
not.
would have to you know, it's not that crazy that you mention it, but I would have to watch it with that in mind and try to notice it.
Okay, you done. Yeah, I have a good one.
Take
It's been
care.
fun.
Always a pleasure.
Bye.
Peace.
Yeah, have a good one.
Let's go back to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Speaking of
Shut the
superhero movies and
turn
comic
down
books,
turn down the stream on your
it's
end. I can hear it in the
everyone's
background.
favorite comic book villain, the owner of Twitter. I believe that you have for some time have wanted to talk to me. Uh, uh, uh.
Is this Elon Musk? Someone.
So, you didn't like some of my additions to the platform, I believe.
No, no, no.
Now you can even pay in NFTs.
Paid NFTs.
That's an improvement.
Is that something new?
Indeed, you have the scoop right here.
Ooh, you're losing it. You're
So,
you're losing the accent there. You jumped into a you went a little British for a second.
well, South African accents are more like this.
Hello?
Okay, I'll hang up now.
You tried, Renee. You tried, Renee. Let's go back to the phones. Renee was trying hard there. He had it for a minute. Sort of. And then he lost it. But that's okay. We'll go back to the phones. Just when I picked up that call, like 3 people called in. And just as Renee hung up, I lost them all. Once again, you can call into the show by opening up Skype and searching Doomed Live. Doomed Live. One word. Doomed Live. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Alan calling from North Carolina.
Hey, Alan, I see you using your video. Can I put you up on the feed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. How you doing, Alan? What do you want to talk about?
First, I want to say that last time I called, I was trying to remember who David Dole, who David Dole looks like. And I told you that I decided he didn't look like Ron DeSantis anymore. But now I've decided he looks like this guy who does cooking videos on YouTube. His name is the Anti-Chef, and he looks between a mix between him and Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, but not Anthony Starr as Homelander, but Anthony Starr as when he did this show called Banshee on Cinemax, like I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that. And he looks almost like David Dole is like right in between those two. So if anybody knows who any of those people are, they would like, oh my gosh, yes.
Say it again. I got the actor who plays Homelander, but
Yeah, but specifically how he looked circa when he was on a different show called Banshee, because now his hair is blonde, but his hair is naturally brown, and so like when his hair is natural, he looks more like David Dole. But
and cross between that and who?
And this guy who does cooking videos on YouTube, his name.
Okay, that's where I missed you. What's his name?
Yeah, his YouTube name is Anti-Chef. He does like Julia Child.
He does look a little bit like Anti-Chef.
Yeah, Anti-Chef is also from Canada, so I think there's something
something in the water
Canadian
there.
Water. Yes,
making them
exactly
pumping out those David Doles.
Yeah, which is I think is maybe their biggest export and their biggest problem, and people should look into that. But what I also want to say about the call is I want to say thank you for bringing Scam Economy back for those of us that really love Scam Economy, and particularly the types of particular scams that have been going on the internet. So much has happened since you left. I mean, you've been covering it on Twitter, but it's good to have a dedicated Scam Economy episode now that the government seems to be like really cracking down on a lot of the weirdness that's going on with this, because it's kind of imploding, like their whole like at least the commercial viability of crypto seems to be imploding, and it seems to be like kind of receding back into what it originally was, which is kind of like this kind of like scammy underbelly of the internet. And then Uh, it'd be interesting though, because now the commercial sort of tech buzz has kind of moved on to AI, and it's sort of doing the same thing with AI that it did with crypto and then NFTs, and it's so it would be interesting if you did a scam economy on AI, but I don't know. I don't know if there's like a specific story that you could maybe do on that because it's not really like a central event that's happening. It's just like a lot of random AI stuff that's going on the internet, I
No, I
think
mean,
maybe.
I've been wanting to. I mean, I've been slowly bringing in more AI stuff because I do think it's very important to talk about. Because I do think there's a lot of overlap. Period. Like just straight up, there's a lot of overlap between
Especially
crypto
with
and AI.
NFTs.
In the just even with the AI imagery for sure. Um, but there's a lot going on in like the type of people that are being attracted to both. A lot of the hype around
Yeah.
AI is very similar to the hype that was around crypto. It's it's very close to being the same thing, honestly. Except for I do think AI has some utility. There are some use cases for it, whereas
I mean,
I don't see that with crypto. I just don't. There's nothing
well,
there.
yeah, AI definitely is a like in just like the general concept of AI definitely is a very valuable tool in the sort of the schema of the internet. I think that specifically when it comes to AI art and when it comes to like AI in the field of art and then like AI replacing people in that field right now, and even just like AI replacing people in jobs in general, I think that that creates a bigger issue about um, the viability of AI. Because it'd be one thing if AI could actually do these jobs that people are marketing it towards being able to do. But they really can't. Like, I see everybody feel like, oh, AI is gonna replace this. But those people, they don't actually mean that because I work for Verizon, and one thing that I know is the one thing people hate is talking to a robot. So I know for a fact that people are not gonna let AI replace. I mean, it might. I mean, definitely companies are definitely trying to do it. They're trying to replace as many jobs as possible with AI, but it's not gonna. I mean, we saw it with like self checkout and like replacing cashiers, and people are okay with that because it lets them steal, and it also and because um it cuts down on the lines, right? They can put up a bunch of machines and they don't have to pay anybody versus like them having to actually pay people and then them only putting like one or two cashiers up because they don't want to pay people, right? So it's in that sense, it's a lot more convenient for people. So because it's more convenient, people are willing to let um the lack of customer service go. But and also there's like they get the number of people they had manning the cashiers to man the self checkouts. So it's not as detrimental to jobs as like maybe because they were already cutting back in that area to a certain extent. But especially in the field of like we said, like with writers and um with I think writing is a little bit more scary than maybe even art because I think that most people have are confident in their ability to write. They just don't want to actually do the writing. So most people would say like, okay, I'll make this AI do this writing work for me, and then I'll just go back through and proofread it, right? Whereas I think it's I think it's not as I think it's almost not as uh what's the word dangerous for in the sense of art, even though it seems to be like there's a big push in art right now because you can tell when something was made by AI, and I think that it loses a certain level um of a personal touch. The people that were
Oh,
gonna buy
I
art
think you're being too
are not gonna
nice.
buy.
I think you're being too nice too. I think the art that AI pumps out has a very distinct style around it, and it looks like it looks like computer generated imagery. It does not look like anything someone has created by their own hand. And I include like someone opening up Illustrator or Photoshop and creating some sort of original piece. It looks computer generated. It absolutely does not even. It's just bad art in a lot of sense. Now, if you want to use that for a specific style or for some stupid little thing, I don't think that's necessarily anything horrible. But it's not. It doesn't make you an artist. That's what really bothers me. Like the people who,
I think
like
I
AI
think that
art is not a talent. I'm sorry, it's just not. You figuring out a good prompt is not a is does not make you an artist.
I think that AI art kind of fits into that same vein where um it's dissimilarly. I think it's different from writing in the sense that AI is stealing writing jobs because I think the people that are gonna do AI art were never are they already devalue the the job of artists, so they're not gonna pay artists their worth to do the work. And so it might, like, the people that actually value art and that actually want to pay for good art are gonna always go for an actual artist because they want that artist's touch. Like, I'm not gonna put an AI generated tattoo on my body. You know what I mean? Like, the because I value the tattoo artist's, you know, style in the art that they put on them, right? But if I'm just like some, you know, rando who wants to pay like $10 for a tattoo, I wouldn't have any problem doing it with AI. You know what I mean? Whereas like with writing, I think poses a bigger threat because it's because like I said, people have a certain acumen with writing as, like, adults who have been through high school. And then and even like for people that are in high school that are cheating, which I don't really care about the cheating itself, but the I think that it poses a risk to the the viability of the writing, right? Like, people aren't gonna have a certain understanding of the writing and things like that because they're generating it through AI or ChatGPT or whatever they're using it for. And I think that while AI art is a lot more flashier of a cause, and even like AI music or any of that stuff is like a flashier cause, I think it's kind of like pirating, right? Where like people, like, it doesn't the intersection between people that are actually gonna pay for that and the people that the people that are using AI for it, it's not as big as I think the the risk is for like something like writing or things like where people or like, customer service, where like there's actual um uh a push for replacing and getting rid of jobs already.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, I think again a lot of it's hype. Like you said, there are writing jobs that are obviously I've seen this happen. People lose you know their writing job to an AI because of Chat GPT and things. Um, but and this isn't to belittle or knock certain types of writing, but the type of writing it's taken over is basically like generic marketing, like copywriting, marketing type writing. Like Chat GPT can't take the job of a journalist. It can't corroborate sources and do investigative reporting because that's not out there already. Like ChatGPT can't create anything that hasn't already been put out there because that's where it gets all its data from. It's been trained on all the data that exists.
I think
So
that
so I'm not worried. I'm honestly not worried about ChatGPT or any of these AI writing models able to do that. I also don't think it could do creative writing. I think it could maybe, come up with, by combing through all this data, come up with something interesting, but it can't flesh it out. It just can't. It doesn't have the
Yeah.
ability to, first of all, to have the emotion that goes into writing, fiction. Quite frankly, like that's just off the top of my head, like one of the main reasons. It just can't get that down. It won't be able to.
I think that the issue is not necessarily what it's able to do. I think the issue more is what corporations believe that they can get away with, right? So I think that even though you say that even though AI cannot replace a good writer or a good reporter, I think that corporations are going to take the more commodified all these industries become, and the more monopolized and the more conglomerated all these industries become. I think that corporations are going to say they're going to look at the bottom line and they're going to say um, our biggest cost is workers, and the more workers that we can say, the more workers we can get away with getting rid of, the better we're gonna, the higher our profit margins are gonna go, and they're gonna say, and consumers and people that are losing jobs and people that are in these industries are gonna complain and complain. It's gonna take a long time for them, I think, for the job market to readjust to what AI is actually capable of. So I think that while we are in an AI bubble and it's going to burst at some point, it's I think that a lot of people are going to lose a lot in
I mean, it
the
it
interim.
I mean, it already is bursting. Like everything coming out right now is AI, and it's been like in terms of like various different like tech companies and online software apps and platforms. Like everything is about AI and chat GPT and language models. And I think they have officially what's the word I'm looking for, they've filled the market with too many copycats and things.
Oversaturated.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. They've oversaturated the marketplace, and I think you're getting a lot of people who are just sort of tired of like for one, when I see some new platform or new app or new like check this thing I just made, this this side project I made, when someone releases something that I come across, when it's not AI, I'm like, ooh, what is this? Let's check this out. And if it says AI as like the main selling point, then I'm like, been there, done that, not exciting. It's all seen it all. I think that's, you're seeing a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, I think it is really faddish, but uh I think this happens like all the time with AI. I think that there's always these sort of bubbles with AI where they oversell the capabilities and then it draws back. I mean, we saw this with Elon Musk. It's like one of Elon Musk's favorite things to do, right? And now we see that he's got FDA approval for those like brain chips, and God knows what sort of damage he's gonna deal with those things, but we already killed all those monkeys, but which is crazy to think that the FDA let him go to human trials. I mean, I guess they must have had a successful monkey trial at some point, but I I, I would have thought that after he killed all those monkeys, they would have shut down his research, and they wouldn't have let him keep going. But I think that that's a testament to how how far things can get before somebody comes in and says, "Hey, maybe we should stop this. Hey, maybe the cost is too big right now for something like this." And I am a little worried about how I think obviously the best way to do this would just be for the government to come in and break up these companies, but I think that you know, as people go, as in the path that we're currently trekking on with, all these companies, forming together into mega companies and conglomerates and things, I think that, the people at the top don't really care about the customer experience, and they don't care about the things that normal people care about. They just care about the line items on the spreadsheets, and then and performance. And I think that there's going to be because there's like this boom right now, it's going to take, I think it might take a little while for, even after the bubble burst, for like the corporate uh uh universe to like realize that they've kind of reached the edge of this. And so, I mean, we'll see, but I guess you're a little bit more optimistic than I am about this.
No, I
But
mean, I saw some people in the chat, call saying, Matt, the bubble, AI bubble is not burst. And I mean, yeah, sure. In when it comes to VC interest and obviously corporations going full throttle with it, you're right, absolutely. But I think the AI bubble is bursting or in the midst of bursting for the consumers. I mean, I've seen people just get tired of it. Even people who are not anti AI, just like this is all that's being pushed. The hype is so, and this is, maybe this is just my own experience, but I'm not even talking about people I usually follow. I'm talking about like other people in tech. I see them like talking about like mocking the saturation of AI products, mocking all the AI hype guys with their like, 25 tweet threads about like check out these life-changing AI apps. I mean, I do think
but
there is, it's not bursting in the way the crypto bubble burst. It's not dying. But I think
but I
I
think
think
also
the
it's like,
original the the breath of fresh air that it had when Chat GPT first came out onto the scene and pushed everything AI into the spotlight. I think that's over with and done.
right. But I think that also it's like this thing where you work in the industry kind of now, and I work, like I said, I work for Verizon. I work in tech. So like my colleagues and the people I know that work in tech, we were all tired of it before it even started, right? But because we actually know what AI is and what it's capable of. But like, when I'm on Instagram, and when I'm on, when I'm talking to my siblings on like on Facebook Messenger or something like WhatsApp or something like that, right? And you're talking to like people that are like so far removed from, the that they don't get stories until like 2 weeks later or something like that, right? That they're the people that they're still sort of amazed, and they're still sort of caught up in the trappings. It's kind of like, um with crypto, right? Like after, the the implosion happened with Bitcoin and everything, there were still people like after Elon Musk did his SNL episode or whatever, right? And then but there were like still people who were like sort of enamored with, the stocks and the crypto and everything that was going on at that time, like 2 years ago at this point, like almost a little over 2 years at this point, but like a couple weeks. But there were still people that I knew who were like still like 10 steps behind, and they were still in the maybe even still are in the sort of like in the inside of that bubble of like this new tech craze that's going on right now. So I think that it's gonna take. I think it's gonna take a little bit for like the regular people to get, like normies to like get that AI is kind of over. Like we're kind of like seeing 2 steps ahead, and
No,
they're
that's
like 10
definitely
steps
true. We're
behind.
we're, we're very online. No, that I always try to point that out when I'm talking about pretty much everything. We are, and I mean we as in, if you watch this show, you are as well. And I don't just mean it because I tell you guys. I mean, just based on the quality of the calls I receive, like you guys are experts in this area and in the know too. I think that's why you're attracted to this show. Smart people consume smart content. So, I think that's absolutely true. There is definitely, that dynamic of us being a few steps ahead here. Um, but at the same time, I don't think they're that far behind on this, honestly. I guess we'll see, though. I guess we will see. Again, there is a big difference I want to really stress here. I think AI and crypto have a lot of similarities in the scams and the hustles and the people behind it, but I don't think the technology is the same. I think there is utility and use case for AI. I do not
I
think
think
the
also
same
the
thing
problem
about
with
crypto.
AI is that
Also,
it's so broad
yeah, that's
that
one of the
like
things too. What we're talking about really shouldn't be called AI. Like when people talk about AI, it's in the name, artificial intelligence. That's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with language models and programs that use processing power to basically try to throw together the most conversational sounding sentences and paragraphs. that's not that's not thinking in the way that you or I think. So I really think AI is a horrible name for this, and it's totally part of the whole hype machine. Like deep fakes was, I think that was a better because they took it from the term deep machine learning, and I think that's much more. I'm not even gonna. I don't know. I'm
well
getting
that it kind of
analogous.
always
There we
goes.
go. To what I think is going on here.
That's an even deeper thing where like so AI is like artificial intelligence is sort of like the it's sort of like an old term that's kind of like sort of like the umbrella term for a lot of this. Machine learning is kind of a lot what some of this actually kind of falls into, and then you have like chat bots and things like that. But I think that marketing wise, it's all called AI because it's like kind of easy to get than like machine learning or something like that. But it promises, it's also part of it, right? It promises more than what it actually is. So it's part of the marketing. So like that's part of why it works the way that why it spreads so fast is because hear AI and they automatically think like Skynet, right? Which is why it has like this sort of because of all the science fiction that has been built around artificial intelligence, it sort of gets it an instant cachet, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? So for the people that are actually working in it, they don't really like it, right? Because it oversells to the point where it makes it hard to get funding for things that they actually want because it gets like this it gets like this instant sort of disappointment people have. Like when you say AI and you pitch a project, they're like, oh well that's not really AI, right? So it it oversells something that but for people that are trying to make money off of it, like companies that like Lenza or someone like that, or they're trying to get people to like buy into something really fast, it it works really well for them because they can make as much money as quickly as possible before people realize how bad it is. So like so like when you say that like that is true when you say that like it's not really AI, but that's kind of it's the kind of part of the uh the bones of it. Like those people that are the companies that are selling these apps and these that are making these widgets and these chat GPT tools and all that stuff, they know the people that are working on it, they know that it's not that. And I mean, you have like it come out like I don't know if you saw like those articles about where a lot of African countries where people are actually doing the labor behind these chat bots and stuff like that, like sifting through the data and making corrections and things like that. They're like we're like going on strike and stuff because of how bad the working conditions were. And so like they're like so far removed from like the marketing scheme of like you like people think like Pete like a bunch of like white guys like fresh out of college in Silicon Valley doing the work, right? But like they're not actually doing a lot of the work for a lot of these things because they the turnaround is so cheap, especially for something like Lenza where you have like um sifting through tons of photos and you're selling the sell point is so low that like um that they can't have like they can't pay like good employees or pay people in the US to do that kind of work.
Right. Yeah. No, I think you're going to see a lot of people use it to try to skirt around actually paying human beings. The question is, how long until they realize the quality is actually losing them money? Because that's definitely what's going to be what happens. Um,
I think it'll be a bit of a turnaround because I think that even though the quality will lose their money, it definitely it's like they kind of factor that into their cost analysis, I think. And I think that they think in their head like, yeah, it might cost us a little bit, like with self-checkout, right? Walmart knows that they lose a bunch of money um in theft due to self-checkout, but they save so much money in manpower that they don't really care. And also, I guess it's a little different for Walmart because that stuff is insured and they make money on the back end in insurance as like and then write-offs and stuff. But it's it's like sort of like the same thing with these companies. Like they can write it off in different ways, and so like in the end, they'll have to lose a lot of money it becomes uh before it becomes unprofitable for them to get rid of these jobs with AI, which I think is a lot. That's a big part of the problem.
right. Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure. I mean, at the very least, to cover. And unfortunately, I do think there will be people who lose their jobs before people really figure out exactly what's going on. Um, in terms of what it actually does and doesn't do. But we'll definitely talk about it on Scam Economy. I mean, I really want to talk about it more. That's why I've been trying to broaden the topic Scam Economy covers. Obviously, crypto isn't going anywhere on that on Scam Economy, but to be able to cover various different topics in the broader scammy world of the industry as a whole. I That's where Scam Economy's headed.
I mean, and the good thing is that like the internet kind of moves from like one get rich quick scheme to another. So now it was like first it was crypto, and it was NFT, and now it's AI, and
Right.
it'll be something else pretty soon. And uh, that's kind of how it is in the tech world, where it just like
Wouldn't it be great if like a company actually just came out with something that they like felt strongly about, like legitimately, and not like a money rush, a gold rush, and just like continued to work on that one specific product until they got it to a point where it actually did something good. Wow, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But I guess that's not how the
well,
world works
I
anymore.
think that a big part of the problem is that we have all these like conventions and things that are built around like the actual it's kind of like with iPhone, right? And the innovation, none of the real innovations happen at these companies. They all happen at from like colleges and then like tech fairs, and then like these companies recruit from those, and they buy the person that's making the technology, and then they use their research and to commodify it, right? So the breakthroughs are never going to happen from these companies. You're always going to have to be like by the time most people have heard about it, it's the actual breakthrough probably happened like 3 or 5 years ago, and like it was like one person that didn't get any traction that or like a team of people that didn't get any traction that actually made like the actual breakthrough. Like
it's funny you bring
the
that up because I think what's going on right now with the Reddit, and I was planning on talking about this more tomorrow, but we could bring it up for a little bit right now. All a bunch of subreddits, like something like 3,000 subreddits or something, like consisting of like a billion or more, not unique, but a billion and more users altogether in each of those communities. They went private today to protest Reddit's plans to start charging for API. Now, I think it's not, there are plenty of platforms that do charge for API usage, but the the pricing that Reddit and Twitter before Reddit, and I think Reddit is sort of borrowing this idea from Twitter, is completely ludicrous. Like something like so there's this Reddit there's this Reddit client called Apollo for Reddit, and it's like the most popular third-party Reddit app, and a million people use it every day to actually use Reddit. Like they don't consume Reddit content without this app. And so the creator of this app basically said like Reddit wants to charge him like tens of thousands of dollars for the same amount of like API calls that he pays another company, Imager, that like image sharing website. He pays them like $100 a month for the same amount. And he said that, doing the math, it was going to cost him $20 million a year just to keep his app running, which is more than he makes from his app, obviously. And Reddit didn't want to budge. And this news spread, and all these different other developers that use Reddit's API came out and shared that they are dealing with similar issues with this, and they wouldn't have to shut down their apps. And so in protest to these plans to charge these exorbitant prices for API access, this Reddit protest happened today. And I think that's great they're doing that. Because if you think about it, and this is why I'm bringing it up now with what you said, it is really hard to start a platform that's not built on top of another platform. Like a lot of indie developers, a lot of college students, a lot of people just getting involved in coding, a lot of their first apps, and even beyond that, a lot of their first successful apps are products that are built upon other platforms. Like, an analytics app that like helps users on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube better understand like the viewers of their content, the people who like, share their content. They create like posting apps. They create all sorts of these different products that are built on other platforms using their API. And the reason why they do that is because it's really hard to start from square one with no data. When you're building on another platform, it's super helpful to have this data that you have to work with already. And then you have a built-in user base of people who already use these platforms. And so it's a really great entry-level tool, and it gets a lot of developers with no funding, because to start a platform from scratch, you need money. With no funding, you could build this app on top of these more successful platforms. And that's where I think a lot of these really great developers who want to create great things or work for these companies come from. And it should be worrying that like, unless you now have the funding to start something, which only very rich people will have, these students and indie developers won't be able to afford to build these apps. Because they won't be able to afford the API costs. And now I know what some people are going to say, oh, they're using their platforms. They're using their API. You just said it yourself. They're using other people's data but no. First of all, they're using data from those platforms as users. And those platforms, like for example, let's take Reddit. Reddit does not create any content itself. It depends. Its lifeblood is its users, who create all the content on that website for free. Reddit is nothing without its users. Yes, Reddit provides the technology and the platform for those people to post on, but if those users want to, they can all get together and go somewhere else. Reddit is dependent on those users. And in exchange, Reddit gets to use that data, use that content, that's on their platform, and sell advertising to other companies. And they don't share that ad revenue. That revenue's for them. So the trade-off is we give you our data. We put this content on your website for free. You get to sell advertising based off of our content and monetize your platform in that way. And you don't share any of that with us. But in exchange, you give us access to our data. And to me, that includes the API access. Because, yeah, you know what? If I'm giving Reddit and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram my data for free, my content for free, then I want you to provide my content to third-party developers so they can create cool stuff that you guys aren't fucking creating because you're not thinking in the same way these guys are, so that I can use their cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like like you said, it's kind of like the trade-off that these apps and these websites kind of promised with like you the kind of the point, the way they build up these user bases is by providing a free website, right? And then they get to sell ads on that website, but they don't charge their users anything. And then they may some websites may have like certain ways where you can like pay a little bit of money and like get some features in exchange for that, right? But it's supposed to be that all the users that are the light,
Oh, you
like
froze.
they get it for free.
Oh, there you are.
And then
you froze.
Lost connection.
I hear you.
Oh no.
Well, maybe you can't hear me. Can you hear me? It was a good call too. Damn. All right. Let me let you go, Alan. Sorry you can't hear me.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. All right, I'll take one or two more calls because I'm going to be live tomorrow. If you don't catch me tonight, you can catch me tomorrow. I don't want to go too long tonight. I want to make sure. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Tokyo Hans.
Hey, Tokyo Hans. Can I pull you up on the video feed?
Of course. Go ahead.
Cool. Hey, Tokyo Hans. What do you want to talk about?
No, first I wanted to say I got a I don't want to say new job, but I moved departments in my company, and it's really exciting.
Oh,
It's
congratulations.
Thank you. It's in data analytics and AI development. So I think it's going to be very useful in the future. And I
Wait,
love
what are you doing?
ChatGPT.
What are you doing?
Data analytics and AI development.
Ooh, AI development. And you love ChatGPT?
Yeah, because without it, I wouldn't have passed the examinations for what I had to take for it. So, but yeah.
Why? Because it's just like it knows like the various like it remembers various code or whatever that you need to refer to.
Exactly. So I'm not into code. I'm not a programmer or anything. The stuff that I have to get into has a lot of like programming in it, like with Python and Spark, SQL and SQL and stuff like that. And I'm not a programmer. So for like the examinations and everything, it's like, what does this say? And I'm like, I don't know, ChatGPT. And it explains everything, every line and everything. So it's super helpful for me.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with people using it for like use cases like that. Like no one's lost their job as the guy who tells Tokyo Hans C++ basics or whatever the fuck you're using.
Exactly. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And also, that was just real quick. I wanted to explain that part. And one more thing, just on crypto coin here in Japan, it's like officially like regular cash here now. Apparently, I was just watching a commercial this morning on how they use Bitcoin for rewards points here, and basically, I think I mentioned this in a previous call a couple months ago. Basically, they have like a point card system here in Japan for like different stores and everything, like things called like Rakuten points, T-Mobile points. Basically, it's like a little point card, and you spend like, let's say, $10 at the convenience store or whatever, and they give you like 1 point or 2 or 3 points depending on how much you spend. And basically, they are converting those points into Bitcoin. And you can use those Bitcoins at the convenience store now to, just buy random stuff, which I feel defeats the whole purpose of, not cryptocurrency, because it's just another form of cash. It's just a how do you call it? I don't want to say just a point-based system, I guess. And I thought that was interesting and just wanted to, call in and mention that today.
Oh, there you go. I mean, yeah, I think. First of all, thank you for calling in and mentioning that. Yeah, jeez. How is it spreading there? Is it picking up steam, or is it feeling the same sort of lull everywhere that seems to be everywhere else?
I feel like it's picking up steam over here, but honestly, just like because it's an older population here, as many people know, not many of the older people know what it is, so they're not using it. It's really like the really niche young people who are using it. And honestly, like I just said, they're not using it as how it's supposed to be used, like they do in the United States, I guess, or whatever. They're just using it as like a point collection system here, like that's it, like basically like an achievement thing in a video game, like if you get like
It sounds like Japan.
Yeah, it's not what it's supposed to be, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what? Maybe it certainly sounds like a better use case to me than
yeah.
And
it's not costing anybody any money. It's just connected to a card. You have your little like point card thing. You use your money to buy something, and it just builds up in your point card thing. And then you use it when you want, like, oh, I got like $10 in Bitcoin. Boom, I get to buy a sandwich or something. That's about it. So,
right.
That's about it. That's all I wanted to call in and mention real quick.
No, thanks always a pleasure to talk with you, Tokyo Hans. Great to hear from you. Congrats again on the new position, and congrats to Chat GPT too. Oh my God, we're losing everybody tonight. What's going on? It's not my. He just froze. It's not my end though, because otherwise you would see it in the stream, not just Skype. Like people would see it on the YouTube stream. Do. All right, let's take. Let's take. Oh, I just accidentally hung up on everybody. Let's take one more call. One more call. Let's do this, and then obviously call in tomorrow if I don't get you today. And if you're calling in for crypto stuff, you can call in tomorrow too. There's no limit to what topics you can call in about. Hey, what's your name? Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ren. Can you hear me?
Hey, Ren, I can hear you. What's up?
All right, awesome. I'm actually calling in about something that I'm trying to get in on Majority Report with, and also about the whole Reddit thing. Is it all right if I talk about that for a bit?
Absolutely. I don't know what's going on with me today. I can't talk. Absolutely. There you go.
Sure thing. So our county commissioner board decided to institute a new rule that any content or discussions they deem political would be removed from the county library. And the first thing they chose to remove was a social justice group during Pride Month. So.
Oh wait, you mean they remove actual like events or gatherings or get-togethers? Like, yes. Not. Jeez.
Removing discussions of content and removing groups that they deemed political.
If you don't mind me asking, you don't got to tell me the exact county or anything like that, but state-wise, where do you live?
I live in Oregon, actually.
Right. I think you've mentioned that, right?
Yeah, no, our local Democratic organization sent out a bunch of emails. I went down with a bunch of my friends to the county commissioners board for public comment. Everyone was opposed to it unanimously. And we are staring down the barrel of losing $40,000 a year in state funding for our library. And it would make our library the only one in the entire state of Oregon to not meet academic and intellectual freedom standards. And we would be taken off the registry and no longer considered a public library. It's ridiculous.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's wow.
Yeah. I sent you a PM on Twitter. I sent in some emails. I've been calling in every day on the show and having them try to boost my area code in the live chat. But yeah, I was just trying to see if I could get that passed along to someone. And I guess after that, if you want to talk more about that or talk about the Reddit thing, I'm down for that also.
I mean, I'd be happy to talk about both. So, when did this get passed?
So the rumblings around this first started about 2 months ago. One person called into the board very upset about the fact that they were able to have a group that talked about things they didn't want. And so they capitulated to it. They said, oh, well, if we let one political group, then, it's just going to multiply, and then we're going to have white nationalists holding groups at the library. And yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's like the idea. It's like, what? Okay, so are we allowed to have a book discussion around Ronald Reagan's autobiography? Okay, what about MLK's biography? What about Fred Hampton? What about like actual socialists, like who were very active in US politics? These jokers said that talking about US foreign policy towards China would be fine and that it wouldn't be political when US foreign policy has resulted in the deaths of countless millions of people and is the most political shit imaginable. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what this. I mean, it seems like it's following.
They also said they're a nonpartisan body, which is hilarious.
I mean, it seems like they're following exactly what's going on across the country, but this seems like it's the specifically, and this is just the public libraries there. Do you live in a conservative?
I live in a Trump plus 35 district. It's gerrymandered to hell.
There you go. Right.
I guess I'm glad that we get more Dems in the U.S. House, but it means I'll never get to elect a Dem in my lifetime unless I move.
Right. I think people think Oregon and they think, leftist paradise, and that's not the case.
Oh.
Right. I mean, you're in
I live in Greater Idaho, buddy.
You're in the eastern part of Oregon, right? That's what I again, I've mentioned on this show. I know not much about the West Coast in specific, but I've been learning more and more, and I've been told that basically Oregon is all those big cities on the west area of Oregon is what makes it a blue state, because the rest of the state is entirely red.
We were too racist to have slavery.
Right. I mean, Oregon, obviously, in its founding, was created to basically be a white separatist state, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've only lived here for a bit under half a decade, but.
Oh, I'm not saying like you moved there like back in like
your
family moved there decades ago
on the background of the state, but I do know some.
Okay, right. I was just in case didn't want to say like you moved there because that you heard of that. No. Yeah, I mean, geez, I can't get.
I could send you some clips or something in Twitter DMs. I mean, do you want me to
send this to me? We'll have to circle back around onto this another day. But send me all that stuff.
Sure
and let's talk Reddit right now, because you said you wanted to mention that too.
Yeah, no, it's so I'm 20. I don't know really anything outside of the current social media.
You're only 20, like that's it, just 20, not like in your 20s. You're just 20.
I turned 20 at the end of January. Yeah. No, I've been raised by Majority Report Discord. I swear to God, I joined like a little bit before I turned 18, and that community has helped me out with so much stuff, with paying for my guitar, with funding my stuff with music. Yeah, no, y'all are awesome.
Oh, I have very little to do with the Discord, but I'll take it though. You're welcome. No, that's great. Also making me feel old is great. I mean, speaking of Discord, I just got my invite to change my username. Are you aware of that? The username change over on Discord?
I'm aware of it. I mean, I've heard things are kind of rough behind the scenes at Discord, but I don't really care that much because it's not affecting usability yet.
Right. Well, I heard it has. I heard some people, some usernames that you were able to use, obviously you can't use if someone else has it now, which wasn't always the case on Discord. So now if you're like trying to reach out to someone who you've been adding for this whole time, you're going to be adding someone else now.
Oh yeah.
You know?
But yeah, I'm pretty young, and so I don't really know anything outside of the current online landscape. I mean, my friends would show me weird stuff on like 4chan and 8chan and like different like older like more Wild West type of stuff when I was in middle school, but that hasn't been in the picture for a long time. And it's I mean, I see like probably about half of the subs coming back online within 3 or 4 days. And within 2 weeks, I think the majority will probably be back up. But I mean, a lot of people have uninstalled the mobile clients. A lot of people are not using desktop as much. And I think a big part of the usage statistics for these social media platforms is people's muscle memory and it being part of their daily routine. And if you
Yes.
take that out of someone's daily routine for even 1 week, then there are a lot of people who aren't going to come back. And I think that if this is allowed to go on for even a week, long term, we could be looking at like a 15 to 20% reduction in site traffic, because a lot of people, you know, and the site probably is going to be dead within like 5, 6, 7 years, because all of the people who built the content and built the communities are going to throw in the towel. But yeah, this is a big problem for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They forget that the reason Reddit is what it is today is because fucking Dig. I don't know if you recall that. Again, you're only 20. Are you familiar with Dig?
I've heard the name rumbling around, but I never used it.
Okay, so Dig back in the the late 2000s, early 2010s, that was the big social sharing website. That was Reddit, before Reddit. And then Reddit came along as competition, but Dig was like it was the same exact thing. You would upvote stuff you liked, downvote things you didn't. The links would go up on the homepage if they got a lot of upvotes, and the same with the comments and everything. They completely relaunched their successful platform to look completely different, whole new user interface, in order to highlight partners' content, like companies that were paying them to promote stuff. And like overnight, they killed their fucking platform, and everyone just went to Reddit.
Yeah, there wasn't ad tolerance 10 years ago.
Yeah, and everyone just went to Reddit. And then Reddit became the big thing, and Dig died. They couldn't compete. And so Reddit actually defeated its bigger, larger competitor in the same exact space because that bigger, larger competitor fucked up. Reddit could do the same thing here. The difference is there's no Reddit competitor waiting in the wings. I mean, that could be solved. I'm really surprised the Apollo guy isn't cooking up something really basic to get out there, because that dude can have everyone moving over there like that. Like, he has a following now. Like, people liked him before for creating this great app, but now he has a fan base now because of him standing up to Reddit. He needs to. I can't say he needs to, because it's none of my business what he needs to do. But if I was him, I would be taking advantage of that. And I'm not saying monetarily, because obviously I'm not smart when it comes to that. But I would take advantage of that that movement going on right now on Reddit to create a new platform. Yeah.
He has an opportunity right now for himself that he's never going to have again. And
I think
that if you're
he could just use the Apollo user interface, but just build the platform behind it. Like he already has the front end. He already has the front end with the Apollo app.
Well, the thing is that the back end isn't some insignificant thing. It's fucking massive, the amount of work that goes into it.
Right.
It's Reddit. I think that if you are him, what you say to all the people donating to your Patreon, all the people who support you in these different things. You say, hey, I'm going to take a poll of active Apollo users. Would you support, an independent thing? And then basically say, hey, would you like to continue paying for the app to donate essentially and fund the creation of, an alternative platform? And then, maybe he can hire, 2 or 3 other people to help him out with that. But the thing is that even if I was gonna so I have an incredibly small amount of experience with anything related to technology and server stuff. But even the IT for like a school department, if there's like 400 people who are using things, is like you've got to have a couple machines for that. And like I'm making a little website and a little dedicated server for it, and I'm sure that if 30 people tried to access it, that it would go down.
Right. It's yeah.
It's tough, but I think you should go for it.
It's definitely not easy, but I think all those things could happen, but because of the reasoning as to why he's doing it, I think people will put up with those little issues and stick with him.
Totally.
Because they want to stick it to what Reddit's doing. I mean, like I said earlier, like there was this unwritten like rule in social media at the very least, where you make your API accessible for developers to use it because it gives back to the community in that way. And accessible doesn't necessarily mean free. I'm not saying that Twitter and Reddit can't charge. I'm saying there needs to be levels that take into account how much these developers using their API are actually making. And if
they generate so much value for the platform,
and that too,
like it massively outweighs
right.
any potential like infrastructure cost.
Right. All these apps just send people to the platform itself. So the idea that like they're even like taking users away is bullshit. Apollo for Reddit encourages more Reddit use.
But it doesn't have the ads.
All those, I mean, why not just work with Apollo then to say, listen, if you want to use the API for free, that you need to put the ads in the feed. I'm sure that would work. Like that's the deal. You know what? We won't charge you. You either a no ad interface where you got to pay, or the ads get fed into your thing. You have to do that, but you continue free API use. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Well, the thing that got me is that like I didn't use any of these clients. I mainly used desktop and had, my mobile app. The thing that really pushed me over the edge was I went to take a screenshot on my phone and it said, wait, this page looks better when you share it. And so whenever I would try to get a screenshot, it would just cover up half of the content. And I was like, oh, wow, it's unusable now. Shit.
What was this?
Okay, well, let me look and see. Huh?
What was this?
Oh, so if you take a screenshot on the Reddit app, it'll say, this page looks better when you share it. And it's a pop-up that covers up. Yeah. I'm dead.
I guess I never tried to do that.
Yeah, no, it's like that makes it unusable because so much of like what I do with Reddit is I see some bullshit or like some funny comment or headline, and then I screen cap it and I put it in the group chat or in the Discord. But like when it does that, it means I can't take scrolling screenshots. It means I can't do all of these different things. And it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And it just became so annoying to use. They kept increasing the amount of ads, like to the point where you're getting like 1 in 3 slides you get are ads. And I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just done. And the thing is, like, the second I start looking at like a different platform, and started looking at alternative apps, they pulled the API bullshit.
Yeah. That's.
But yeah,
I actually wasn't familiar with Apollo, so I would basically just go to the Reddit like mobile web site, which I thought was nicer than the app. And whenever I would try to go to the website, the mobile website, it would tell me you
go
should
to the app.
Go to the fucking app. So I stopped using it altogether. I stopped going. Like it wasn't always like that.
I know that's the thing that's so fucking annoying to me because you can try to load the desktop site, but the problem is that they see that your IP address isn't coming from, a wired connection. They see you're coming off of a cell tower. So I think that's what it is, because even when I try to reload it with a different thing, doesn't matter what browser I use, they keep telling me to go to the app. Yeah, it's so now I have to use a laptop again, which is interesting. I haven't had to use a laptop for social media in a long time.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
if you want to,
I do use it, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that what they're doing. Like, they're literally shooting themselves in the foot. It's unbelievable. It really is shocking.
well, I think what's gonna be what happens because of this is, there might be another thing that crops up. But this is the thing is that, like, if Reddit itself dies as a platform, it's not as much the user experience that I care about. It's just you're looking at 15 years of tech support threads for random obscure shit. Like, someone will go and say, hey, I need to like swap this display panel for the laptop thing or whatever. Like, what things are compatible and like all this different shit, or like, oh hey, I'm like installing a mod chip in a PS2 and all this different stuff, and it's just nuked is what's going to happen. I'm worried about that, but I think that people are going to start, hopefully making their own forums again after realizing, well, shit, all of these like centralized social
Yeah,
media platforms are just too
that's
unreliable.
that's the internet I miss. Like the forums. That social media killed all that, because instead of going to this niche website that only dealt with the topics that you were interested in, everyone was going to the town square, as Elon Musk likes to call it, and just talking about everything with everybody. And I mean, the difference there is that those companies that created those town squares didn't care about the actual content as much as the forums did. They just were using the content to basically make money on.
If we lived in a sensibly organized economy, there would be no need for this. But the problem is everything has to be line go up, or it's fucking worthless to anyone who wants to invest in it. And making revenues and, like being able to employ all these people and having a stable business does not matter. It's vulture capitalism, but destroying the services that are required for society to function. And I'm not saying that like specifically with Reddit or Twitter, but I'm talking about like this fucks with a lot of infrastructure. And if something like this happens with Stack Overflow, like it will unironically like create a crisis.
The funny thing is, as we were talking earlier about the AI stuff, all these like AI platforms popping up, they're all using OpenAI's API. Like none of them like, I don't think people realize how expensive it would be to create your own language model. They're all like all these apps and sites and services you're seeing that claim to do AI stuff. They're all using OpenAI's API, I should say. They're all using their language models. I mean, there are a few other AI companies out there that are starting to gain traction, but none of them are even close to as big as OpenAI.
Yeah.
If OpenAI decided to just reverse course on their pricing, that would be the end of like 99% of these AI apps.
Yeah. The thing is, I've been interested in machine learning. I'm sure you've looked into it too, but I've been into this since like 2016, 2017, seeing them like teach the little stick figure things to walk. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then doing like the facial generation stuff and all this different stuff. Like 15.ai is so great because it takes like any like TF2 character or other character, and you can just have them say stupid shit. That's what I love in terms of machine learning. Like, it's a really cool technology. It makes coding a hell of a lot easier. It can do a lot of great things, but just when you try to monetize these things that are a net social good, it just inevitably destroys it and saps any good that it could have done out.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to drop off, then I'll let you do that. But it's been a good call. Thanks.
This has been great. Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of these things, and it's good to like have someone on to talk about it with, especially like the forums and and the internet of old. This was a great call. I really appreciate you calling in,
Hey.
Ren, and feel free to call in anytime. This is great stuff.
I'll PM you. Take care. Have a
Send
great
me
rest
that.
of your
Yeah,
evening
send
now.
me that stuff too. That you from Geez, I can't believe we had a whole nother conversation before the Reddit and API stuff.
Yeah.
Send that stuff.
My user is WR3N, the songbird. It's a really crap user tag, but that way you know it's me, and it's a little picture of me holding the guitar. All right, take care, Matt.
Take care.
Hang up.
All right, let's go. Oh wait, what time is it? Let's see. Think that's the show? Is that the show? Is that the show? What time is it? How long have we been streaming? That's the show. That's the show. Let's call it a night. Who's Nicholas? Binder, you worm. Stop avoiding me. What were you trying to call in? Were you, if Nicholas, call in. I'll take your call. All right, one more call. This is it. Last call of the night. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Oh, did it work?
It did. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? You are on the air.
My name is Brady Niels, and I'm calling from New York City.
Hey, Brady from New York City, a fellow New Yorker. Hey, how you doing?
Trying to figure out which tab to. I think I got to turn off the live tab.
I don't hear anything, so it might just be in your headphones, but you're good on my end, just to give you that heads up.
All right, how does that sound? Does that work?
Sounds great.
All right.
So
I'm having quite the time in the chat here. Trying to keep up with everyone is interesting.
Yeah, and this is technically a slower than usual night because I don't usually stream on Mondays, so I guess people weren't ready. But what would you like to talk about?
Ooh, I am all crypto 6 ways since Sunday. So I've been a maybe month or two listener here and there. And
Cool.
now getting into some of these conversations on in the chat. Now I figured out my password for Skype and thought I'd chime in, but now it does seem like it's at the end of the show, or at least the evening, so I may want to call back another time. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
if you want,
I like crypto and
Oh, you're a crypto. If you want, we could. Are you available tomorrow? You could call me in first thing after the interview tomorrow. That should be around like 10 o'clock, and I'll take your call first thing. I'll make sure to be on the lookout if you prefer that. What do you? Are you?
Yeah, is that 10 p.m.?
10 p.m. our time because we're both in New York, so Eastern.
Got it.
Give or take
Cool.
a few minutes because I have that first hour for the guest, and then I take calls.
Got it.
So around 10, maybe 10 on the dot, maybe 10:05, maybe even 9:55. I don't know, but around that general time period.
Perfect.
All right,
Sign
cool.
me up.
Let's do
Consider
that.
me
So
sold.
So
All right.
call in tomorrow night. Same Skype, everything. I'll be on the lookout for your call, and I'll take it first thing.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Bender.
Oh, thank you for calling in. Looking forward to chatting with a pro crypto person.
I wouldn't say pro, but I would say aficionado and obsessed. We'll go
Okay,
that route.
well that's good too. That's good too. That's even maybe we could find some things to debate on and some common ground as well, which will be interesting.
That is always the goal.
Yeah. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Till then, see ya.
Bye. All right, everyone. Let's. We're not gonna get a whole bunch of people calling in. This always happens. Let's hold. Let's wait. Is this on? Is the person calling in now? Nicholas, are you calling in? All right. If Nicholas is calling in, I'll take his call. I saw someone pop up with that name. Call back in. I'll take your call. One last call. If this is actually the Nicholas in the chat. I'm doing it to myself, aren't I? Again with all these. All right, let's do it. Let's do this. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? I could hear you. I could hear the ambiance in your room.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? No, can't hear me? Hello?
My name is Nick.
Hey, Nick, can you hear me?
But can you hear me?
Are you listening to the stream? Don't listen to the stream. Listen to your Skype.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. It's a little bit delayed on our end, though, but that's okay. What would you like to talk about, Nick? Are you the Nicholas in the chat?
Oh, it's delayed.
Yeah. You might be listening
okay,
to the
I closed the YouTube window. It should be better.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hold up. Let me fix it should fix it. 1 sec.
Right, you should hear me from Skype, because if you hear me in the stream, it's going to be very delayed.
Hello.
Hey, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, are you the Nicholas from the chat?
I'm from the chat, yeah.
Awesome.
And
What was it to talk about?
here's the problem.
Sure.
This is my third time on the chat or listening, and we never talk about anything important. I mean, now we're talking about Reddit.
I think.
What about Marxism? What about actual problems in the world?
Is Marxism one of the problems in the world?
No. Marxism is a solution.
Yeah. I agree.
Then why are you funneling people towards libertarian cryptology?
How am I doing that?
By speaking about it.
This is like the most anti-cryptocurrency show that exists. I don't think there's one other crypto critical show out there, and they're great, Crypto Critics Corner, but this show is by admission from them in terms of where they are on crypto, or at least where one of their hosts are on crypto. This show is the most anti-crypto show out there. So I don't know if I'm funneling anyone towards it.
I don't know.
But there's nothing wrong with cryptology. Like cryptology? There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with the old school crypto, which isn't cryptocurrency. That's just like hashes and encryption and stuff like that.
True, but why waste our times with this?
Well, I think this is all important. We're living in the year 2023. Technology is all around us. I would say some of our most pressing issues of our time not only deals with the very rich, but specifically those within the tech industry who are very rich. I mean, the VCs, the tech VCs of today are basically the ones who are responsible for our current discourse. I mean, you look at the names like Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. Go ahead,
Matt.
Sure.
A little topic change.
Sure.
The election is tomorrow. Who are you voting for? Joe Biden or Cornel West?
It's a good question. Is it just Cornel West versus Joe Biden, or is there a Republican?
Joe Biden is the Republican. No, let's assume Trump is the other option.
I'm voting for Joe Biden.
All right. Well, I've got you on record now.
Yeah, you do. If your scenario is there's no Republican, Cornel West versus Joe Biden, those are the two finalists in the presidential race. There's no third party spoiler candidate. Cornel West, no question about it. That's
Well,
easy.
you live in New York, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
So you can vote Cornel West no matter what.
Sure. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but I'm talking about.
You wouldn't tell people to do so.
I would not tell people to do so. Absolutely not. That's why I say who I vote for. I'd vote for it, and that'd be Joe Biden. But if the scenario was your original one, then Cornel West. But if the scenario is the one that's in reality, where there's a Republican who can win, then it's Joe Biden.
Well, what are your thoughts on Vosh? Is he a charlatan? Should we ever listen to what he has to say, or?
Listen, I don't know enough about this is my area of no expertise whatsoever. Just like there was that weak point that I had in Leftist Mafia as well when it came to a former host who had YouTube baggage. I don't know the enough about the allegations or drama or whatever you want to call it surrounding Vosh. But the interactions I've had with Vosh have been good. He seems like a smart guy when I've heard him and when I've spoken with him. I got no problems with Vosh. If someone would like to show me otherwise, I'm open to reading and hearing whatever it is. But I don't know enough about any of the indiscretions that people have about Vosh.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
Was there anything else?
we could get to the elephant in the room.
Ooh, what is the elephant in the room?
Well, your vehement hatred of Argentina and Argentinians.
I love the Argentinian people. I love all people. I have no problem with any.
You like Nazis?
That was a good one. No, Nazis I do not. No fascists. So let me put an addendum on my love of all people. I love all good people. Fascists are not good people. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, reactionaries, bigots, racists, sexists, homophobes, transphobes.
Israelis?
Oh, no, I have no problem with the broad general Israeli population. Their government and their fascists there who support their government, I do not hold in the same regard.
Well, I'm clipping that and sending that to my friend Bad Empanada.
Please do so.
You might like to see that.
Please do so. My solidarity is with the Palestinian people and good innocent people all over the world. Whether they are Argentinians, living in Argentina, or whether they are living in Israel and not supporting their right-wing fascist government, my solidarity is with them as well.
If you could describe your political ideology
Interesting.
more, specifically, like a lot of folks on the left these days, I feel like since Bernie lost, they're giving up on electoralism. They're becoming Marxist-Leninists or Maoists, almost with a revolutionary bent. Would you call yourself one of those people?
Personally, probably not. I consider those who consider themselves that who haven't lost their mind. And that's the vast majority but there are specific people who clearly are claiming to be super far leftists, but
like in any movement,
have solidarity with far right reactionaries. Those people are not my allies. But I look at myself like this. I've continued to hold myself up as I believe I have leftist, socialist leftist ideologies. I peg myself in there. And I know people can have fun with me saying, pegging me. But I have solidarity and allied with the anarchists and the communists and the everyone in between. I consider anyone on the left wing spectrum.
The Trotskyists.
Well, depends. Very much depends. Again, a lot of them could. No, not a lot of them. Let me rephrase. Some of them do cross that line into reactionaryism, and that's not my people.
Okay. Well,
I do say this. I do say this though. Like I very much separate where I would like us to be and where I would like to be with what's a political reality. And I know people don't like to do that, and I know there's people who like to do that to the extreme. I like to think I'm somewhere in between, where we shouldn't give up those aspirations, and we should try to push for those aspirations where possible. But there are also certain political realities we have to deal with. Like, I do think we should be aspirational in certain races where we can afford to do so. So I'm not with, like, the libs there where, oh, no, Dems no matter what. No, I don't agree with that. I also don't agree that, like, student loan forgiveness and Medicare for all is pie in the sky or something bullshit like that. Those are doable now, honestly. Well, at least student loan forgiveness is doable now. And Medicare for all is something we should continue to push. That is the goal, not just the aspiration we hope for. That should be the continuous push to get to that goal. But at the same time, I do, unlike the people who are strictly guided by aspiration, I do deal with the political realities, and I don't think people should throw away their vote and vote third party when they are in a state that matters. And I don't push people like that because I don't think strategically that's the way to convince them to vote for a specific party if they are in one of those states. But that is the political reality, that if you are in one of those swing states, you can't vote based on your feelings. You do have to vote for the one that's going to do less harm, because it's just the truth. Joe Biden, no matter how shitty he or other Democratic candidates are, he will do less harm to our allies. I mean, just look at the event he had, the Pride event. Like, you're not going to be seeing LGBT people accepted at the White House in a Trump or DeSantis or any Republican event. And it does matter. These things do matter. And they specifically do matter to marginalized groups, especially transgender people. And just look what Republicans are doing to them now. And we can shit on Democrats all we want, and I think state Democrats, like Democrats in state houses, have really dropped the ball. But on a national level, I do think the Democratic Party have been doing an okay job. Again, the bar is low for the Democrats, but they've been doing an okay job at least standing up for very basic things for the LGBT community, including trans people, which in some cases have surprised me, actually, because I didn't think they would be even they would even do that. But some of them have pulled through. Joe Biden being one of them, honestly.
Well, it's true that the Republicans are a neo-fascist party and the Democrats are neoliberal. That's I guess superior to being fascist. The Democrats
and we saw, and I know a lot of people think, oh, we the Dems lose, Republicans come in with their fascist dictator, and that turns everybody off of that, and we become a grand leftist country. I wish that was true, but we had that experiment. It wasn't one we were hoping for. I mean, I wasn't. Some people did want this, but Trump won. We had 4 years of Trump. Didn't happen. So, you know, the idea that crazy right-winger wins, country becomes further left. I mean...
Well, I was listening to some organizers who had gone on a Cuban solidarity trip recently, and they were talking about how Obama had eased up some of the sanctions. Specifically, he had taken Cuba off the state sponsors of terrorism list, which allowed them more freedom in trading internationally with other countries,
Right.
allowed like certain necessities to get to the island. Trump, on one of his last days in office, overturned that kind of as a political grenade to throw at Joe Biden, knowing, you know, he might alienate some Florida Republicans, Latin American reactionaries, Cuban Republicans in the process if Biden were to overturn this. But I've been very disappointed in the Biden administration because they have refused to go back to Obama's policy.
I agree
or do
with you
anything
there.
else to lighten up on the sanctions. Because
Right.
one of my problems I have with American socialists, a lot of people online and on the left, is that they have this vague notion of socialism, but they, you know, we have a country, Cuba, 100 miles off the coast of Florida, who's had a pretty successful Marxist government. They have one of the highest human development indexes in Latin America, and that's despite the destructive embargo and sanctions
Right.
of the United States. If you were to take those away and they were actually able to trade internationally, they could, you know, they'd be much better off. But even with that, so I think if you're an American socialist, maybe you feel that in America, you know, it's a struggle to get healthcare or other rights, and okay, vote for the Democratic Party, but there needs to be a lot more of a push to actually support socialist movements worldwide among American leftists, specifically on the countries that America is, you know, the number one anti-communist force, and a lot of socialists just repeat the anti-communist propaganda that the State Department puts out there, and they think, oh, well, Cuba's not a good example, and, you know, socialism has never really been tried, when they don't realize that the history of anti-communism.
Right. No, I think that is the point to take away there. I think that's a great point, and that's something that Michael Brooks was really good at, you know, that was his whole wheelhouse, especially. And I don't have the foreign policy knowledge that he did to be able to espouse that in the way he did. But I do 100% agree that leftist movements in the U.S. need to look more at a global scale when it comes to solidarity and working together. Because the right does it. The right does it really well. I mean, I'm not saying that means like the rank and file right-wingers are doing that, but like the institutional right does that really well. And just look at, a great example is Brazil, when Bolsonaro was president. I think that is what the U.S. left needs to do more of. Seeing how all of these things intersect, how the struggles in South America and Europe and Asia, all over the world, of the leftist movements there are intertwined and interconnected with the left here. And I think if we worked at that level more broadly, I think all the movements, all of these movements all across the planet would have be more structured and have a stronger movement behind it. And just I don't know how it would work out electorally, right away at least. But I definitely think we would be putting down the early building blocks at the very least, to creating a more powerful movement here that would end up paying off electorally in the near future. I'm sorry if I'm not sounding my most put together right now. It's midnight here and I'm feeling it, but I hope that made sense.
Well, I will say Michael Brooks was a great voice. It's unfortunate we lost him. Sam Cedar, not so much.
Well, what do you?
I will say that Sam Cedar guy.
What do you not like about Sam Cedar?
Sam Cedar. Well, me and Sam go way back. We don't have to get into that, but
Okay.
Sam Cedar and back in the days, the MSNBC days, it was me, Chuck, and Sam.
You, Chuck, and Sam.
And I worked at the network, and we'd get lunch, and we would talk, and
these were the really early days of what? Are you saying MSNBC? Is that what you're saying?
These were the nascent days of your whole jig. You're
my jig.
Well, let's just say that you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now if it wasn't for the work that we put in, more than a dozen years ago.
So you're to blame then for my for me streaming. Thanks a lot, buddy, for laying the groundwork for me to stream.
Well, streaming's a problem.
Oh, you're telling me.
And if I've got recommendations for you, if you want to turn this stream into gold, I've got a lot of recommendations because I've watched some, and let me tell you.
Oof, you don't gotta tell me. I know all about it.
I mean, some of these callers that come in
is rough.
They've grown on and on.
I know. I let them go on. It's my weakness, but apparently some people do like that about this show. It's weird.
Well, here's the problem. There's no video games. You not play any games.
I don't know if you're. I can tell this is a very tongue-in-cheek call, but I don't know if you're actually being serious about this one. I really want to start streaming games, specifically Fortnite, because that's all I play. And I've been meaning to do it. I was actually going to do it Friday. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get the kids down to sleep. And I'm going to fucking stream Fortnite on Friday because the new season just started. Fortnite Wilds, there's a new map. And I was like, it would be perfect. So I go lay down with the kids, get them in bed, spend some time with them so they could, doze off. And then all of a sudden, I look at the clock. I had fallen asleep. It was 1 a.m, and there went my Friday night of streaming. Very disappointed about it. I gotta do video game streams. You're right about that.
That's gold. I mean, you'll increase your viewership 10 times, probably.
I mean, the funny thing is, I don't know if you're being funny or not here, but you're actually right. It would actually probably realistically help this channel out more than anything else, actually.
Yep. And what else? Tim Pool, you visited his compound.
I did, and I would do it again.
Where does Tim Pool live?
West Virginia.
Virginia?
West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. It's weird that I feel like Skype or something's muting that out, like they're trying to hide.
They don't.
His
Skype.
location.
Skype is it's a Microsoft product. Liberal Washington State doesn't want people to know about West Virginia existing, so it bleeps out the West part, so we only hear about Virginia.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Big contract with the feds.
yeah.
Based
Microsoft
in
working.
Virginia.
And they have that contract with OpenAI too. So OpenAI is actually using their AI technology to monitor for any usage of the term West Virginia, and then using that machine learning to only blot out the West part so people could still hear Virginia and not realize. Because if I said a state, like if I was like, oh yeah, he lives in, and you just heard bleep, you would know something was missing. But if you hear me go, oh, he lives in Virginia, you're like, oh, that must have just been like a stutter with the the quality of the connection, because you heard the state Virginia, so no one will think anything.
Well, it just strikes me as Tim Pool's the minor leagues. If it was Sam Cedar, he would never touch a show like Tim Pool's. He strikes me as more of a Joe Rogan level guy.
I mean,
So
I
think
think
he might be playing in different leagues.
I actually do think Sam is actually really a Joe Rogan level guy. I don't think he is on the same level as Joe Rogan in terms of like, but I mean, he's a Joe Rogan level. He's a Joe Rogan level guy in terms of Joe Rogan's guests. I mean,
yeah.
But word on the street is that Sam Cedar's on Joe Rogan's blacklist. Literally won't let Sam on the show.
Well, that's understandable.
Right. We can't have someone with too many smart, high-level ideas like Sam Cedar on the show. Got to talk to the Brett Weinsteins of the world.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know anything about those Weinstein guys. They seem like, I try not to follow, or I used to follow the Chuds a little bit more, but it got boring. I was gonna say one more thing, I forgot. Oh yeah. This is more of a personal question.
Sure.
Do you smoke weed?
I don't. I'm straight edge.
Good.
I have no problem with people who do smoke weed. I think weed is the best drug to do if you're going to do drugs. Much better than alcohol, obviously. I mean, I'm not telling anyone anything new here. I'm just letting everyone know my stance. But I personally don't do any of it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I asked, because you never know. And I wouldn't want your viewers to be listening to some kind of stoner.
Are people calling high all the time? I do Leftist Mafia with a few people, specifically one person in particular who gets high during the show. So I have no problem.
Which one is that?
You can watch the show and see. I don't want to call anyone out by name, but it's very obvious.
The guy from the Surfs?
No, not him. I don't think so. Maybe he's taking CBD gummies during the show. I don't know.
I've heard he does cocaine before the show.
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah, no, I've heard that he gets really, messed up, and he goes on the show and he just says whatever comes to mind.
Right. I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, people.
Well, how do you think the mafia, like the Italian mafia, feels about you using their name?
I mean, being that I'm a fellow Italiano, it's fine. I'm a part of the family. I'm mi familia. That's me and me and the real mafia.
You're Italian. That's
not. I'm not FBI. I'm not FBI. I'm not full-blooded Italian. My
favorite streamer hates Italians. He says that fascism runs in their blood.
Oh, who's your favorite streamer who says that?
Bad Empanada.
Oh, does he really say that? Does Bad Empanada say that fascism runs in Italians' blood?
Yes.
That's funny. But you know what? I tend to I won't say it broadly, but there is in certain Italians. There's certainly the.
I mean, you guys invented it,
the
right?
fascismo streak. Yes. Pretty much. Yeah.
So, you know. All right. Well,
Great call, Nick. I did enjoy this. I did enjoy this. Feel free to call in anytime. Because this was a fun call. Have a great night.
Well, I'll call in a leftist mafia. Am I able to do that?
We don't take calls on Leftist Mafia, but you could drop super chats on Leftist Mafia. We read super chats.
Well, one of these days you're gonna invite me as a guest on Leftist Mafia.
Okay, we'll
And then,
invite. We'll invite.
We'll see what's really what.
Of course, because you're the third employee who laid down the groundwork, along with Sam Cedar, and who else did you say? I can't remember.
Chuck Todd,
right? The three original leftists: Sam Cedar, Chuck
Rachel
Todd,
and Chris,
Nick.
Rachel, Maddow, and Chris. We all have lunch and talk about our partners and our
Your partners? What are you, a cowboy?
No, but we were all LGBT.
Okay. Nick, have a great night. This was great. Take care.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you one last note. One last note.
Is it going to be a musical note?
Tell Sam I said from Chuck to remember the 5th. Just say remember the 5th.
Remember the 5th. Is this like some Guy Fawkes thing?
Say that came from Nick.
Nick. Remember the 5th.
Nick and Chuck.
Nick and Chuck. Okay. Goodbye, Nick. Have a great night.
All right. Good talk.
Bye. All right, folks. I'll read the super chats, and that's the show for tonight. Went way longer than I thought we would. Seed the Jiminair with the super chat. Remember, it's Jinmir. As I messed it up. Oh, that was a good super chat. Letting me know. That was good. Andrew Clement with the super chat. I don't know how I am going to have time to watch AEW Collision. I'm going to have to catch it. Oh my God, I'm yawning on stream. I'll have to catch it later. And DC Dage, the super chat. Just give me a super chat. No comment. I appreciate all the super chats. Thank you so much. Let me look over at the Twitch. Let's see. Don James, 1676, resubscribed from 1 month at tier 1 subscriber for 11 months. Thank you so much, Don James. Folks, patreon.com/Matt Binder if you can. I didn't mention it once on this entire stream. Wait, Matt got a shout out from Rebecca Watson in her latest videos comments today. What? Who just said that? Jafafa Hats. Show me. Give me the link. Did she really? I gotta check that out. But as I was saying, folks, please definitely do consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. Lost about 10 patrons earlier this month when the month started, and haven't regained them, and we're about 2 weeks into the month now, and it's a little bit worrying because 10 might not sound like a lot to others, but it's a lot to me, and it's the opposite trajectory, which is not good. We want to move up, and we're struggling to get past this specific area of like 365 to 375 patrons, and I'm on the lower end of that right now. In fact, dipped a little bit below it. So patreon.com/Matt Binder if you can afford to do so we can grow this show. And with that said, who should I there's a super chat from the Molly show. Hold on. Let me thank you for telling me that. Who just Bad Lefty, thank you. Let me go over to that really quick. Who should I raid on Twitch? Who should I raid over on Twitch? Wanda with the super chat on the Scam Economy episode. Making up for super chat I took from you and gave to Mike on Leftist Mafia last week. Oh, thank you, Wanda. Really appreciate it. You don't need to do that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Who am I rating? Who am I rating over on Twitch? Let's see. Could raid Carter? Who's Carter? Who's Carter? What do they talk about? Laredo Lasso says, Matt, your hair looks amazing. Thank you. Does it really? Or are you being... It's okay today. It's a bit frizzy from the... I like it voluminous, but not frizzy. Who's Carter? That's someone I haven't rated before. And I want to see if... that's someone who people would actually... Carter's awesome. Carter's leftist politics? Cool. I haven't rated Carter, so let's raid Carter. Someone new. Always looking to raid somebody new. All right, folks. We're back tomorrow for Doomed. Great episode in the works. So definitely check that out. And thanks for tuning in on this Monday night Scam Economy stream. See you all tomorrow or Thursday on the Majority Report or Thursday on Leftist Mafia. Maybe on one of these video game streams I'm going to try to fit in sometime this week. I don't know when. Maybe Wednesday, probably not. Maybe Wednesday. I don't know. I'll tweet it out or post it. I'll let you guys know. Maybe the weekend? No, the weekend's Father's Day. I don't know when I'm going to fit this in. I don't know. Oh, my daughter graduated from nursery today. How nice, right? They're getting so old, man. Nursery. I remember she just started school earlier this school year, and now she's done with her first year of school. It's crazy. It's crazy. Dan, I see your message. I'd like to call in tomorrow. Call tomorrow. You'll be right after. I'll keep you in mind right after Brady. My two people calling in tomorrow. I'll keep you guys up top. All right, I'm going to raid Carter. See you all tomorrow, hopefully, folks. Have a great night.